it starts to make me think he's dodging him. I mean, and listen, Jon Jones kicked my ass up and down all over this house. But, Jon, I mean, that's the fight, bro. If you're the best ever, if you are the GOAT, why can't you go beat this young kid?
We'll get to Tom Aspinall and the Pereira thing in a minute, and I'm not going to be quite as complimentary, but he does seem to every time have a new approach. You know, tonight Saturday night, we saw some new stuff. I mean, those front snap kicks to the body, they were lightning fast. That spinning kick, and he actually jumped off the air as he threw it, as you say. If that was to the liver, that would have been bad. It probably did break ribs. He's now defended the belt a ridiculous amount of time. 16 title wins, 17 title fights. And the way that he did it against Stipe was just unbelievable. Brian just put in, Miocic's manager, Lloyd Pearson of Vayner Sports, told MMA Junkie that Miocic sustained no broken bones. Thank you for that, Brian. Yeah. No broken bones. But sticks and stones may break your bones, but spinning back kicks will hurt you.
Yeah.
The crowd was nice. The front kick was nice. The foot sweep in round one and the ground and pound, that was vintage.
And his jab, too. I think that's something that got overlooked just because of all the, the elbows and the ground and pound in round one. And then round two, he kind of chilled out. He kind of picked some shots. That's when Stipe, at least, credit to him, man. He definitely came in there to try to take his head off. He really wanted to get after him. He was just missing the speed to be able to close that distance. And I don't know if it was age. I don't want to make too many excuses for Stipe. I think Jon on the night was just a bit better and is more well-rounded as a mixed martial artist. And moving up to heavyweight, he just brings all that speed from 205. And he hasn't really lost that step. That was the big question, right? We were wondering, okay, he moves up from 205 where he had the speed. He was one of the more dynamic guys at light heavyweight. But how does that translate when you start to face these bigger, stronger guys? Well, we saw him go out there and take out Cyril Gane in a couple minutes. And then we saw him have some real cage time in there with a true heavyweight, possibly the greatest heavyweight champion the UFC's had. And I don't want to say he made it look easy, but pretty damn close.
I mean, he kind of did make it look easy, and that sounds really bad to Stipe. I'm not trying to sit here and disrespect Stipe. He's first off just such a great guy. So he's not the type of guy that you can sit here and say bad things about and besmirch him, and certainly after he's retired, right? That's not a nice thing for anybody to do. But I saw him Wednesday. I was doing some interviews, and I saw him then, and I spoke to his coach, Adam DeSabato, who's like a wrestling legend from Ohio. And he's like, bro, Stipe's 251. He's the strongest he's ever been. He's going to kill this guy. And I was like, whoa, here we go. But of course, coaches always believe in their fighter. Yeah. Stipe did look good. He looked in shape, but he was a little slow, And yes, he threatened Jon a few times with very serious punches, with massive consequences if they connected. But Jon was smart. Jon was brave enough to turn around and run. And what I mean by that is brave enough to say, I don't care what you guys think. I don't care if you boo. I don't care if you call me a pussy, a duck, call me a go, all that shit. I'm getting out of Dodge.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out of here because I ain't taking that shit. No way.
We saw the same thing in the co-main event. Chandler literally was doing sprints around the goddamn octagon, man. But hey, when you're in there with crazy-ass Charles Oliveira, sometimes you got to just take a lap. You got to take a lap.
Oh, we'll get to that one in a minute, Paul. Don't you dare jump ahead. You might be dressed as the Big Lebowski, but I'm the dude on this show. Listen, well done to Jon Jones. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. What was also unbelievable, though, was the continuation of the not accepting the fight against Tom Aspinall. I had dinner with Tom and his team on Wednesday night. Tom was the backup fighter. He's been very disciplined. He wouldn't have a beer. He's like, I might step in at the last second. He was getting paid handsomely for it as well. And I think a text message has been leaked since then with some numbers on, which we're not going to get into. But he was taking it very, very seriously just in case. And he's like, I'm the next guy up. And then Jon Jones at the post-fight presser. In fact, Brian, I do believe that we have the footage of Jones saying it, which we can react to as Paul adjusts his beautiful sweater.
I'm not really worried about the Tom fight. I'm really worried about the Pereira fight. That's what I want to do. If the UFC wants to have me back, then I think that's the fight they'll make. That's what I want. And, I'll retire the heavyweight belt if I have to. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. That my value doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger. I want Pereira.
So basically saying he's going to relinquish the belt, and the video goes on for a while, but we've probably all seen that. So apologies. We're going to get that content. We're going to get the words from Jon. Yeah, he's saying he's happy to relinquish the belt to go after Alex Pereira. What's your thoughts on that, Paul?
Okay.
Hold on. You're also a fighter. I'm a fighter, right? So we say these words and people talk shit, right? We're fighters. We know. Go ahead. I don't know what you're going to say, by the way. I got no idea.
So I'm not best friends with any of these guys, right? Just like you are, you know Tom really well. You want him to have that belt. We all want to see that fight. That is the fight that the people want to see. As a fan, as an analyst, as just somebody that's been around the game for a long time, you come back at heavyweight. You take on an aging, potentially the greatest heavyweight the UFC's had, but an aging 42-year-old, out 3 years, Stipe, and you do exactly what you're supposed to do. You go out there and you take him out. Tom's in the freaking building watching this. He's got the interim belt. The whole point of that belt is because we're supposed to unify the belt. I mean, technically, Tom's not even supposed to have a belt anymore because what's supposed to happen is you should have been fighting him, but you didn't. So we're going to make UFC's good at we'll ignore some rules that don't need to be really enforced. But dude, it's got to be Tom. And I can't tell, Michael, if he's like being a genius, Jon. I can't tell if he's using the Pereira fight to kind of just get what he wants financially and get more hype. But the more I hear it, the more he keeps kind of saying, oh, well, if I get this, but I really want the Pereira fight, man, I don't know. The fact that he's willing to potentially go back down to 205 to face Alex versus instead of staying with his belt and facing Tom, it starts to make me think he's dodging him. And listen, Jon Jones kicked my ass up and down all over this house. But, Jon, that's the fight, bro. If you're the best ever, if you are the GOAT, why can't you go beat this young kid?
That is my only issue with it, because you're right. It might be the most genius piece of marketing ever to make everybody want it, to make everybody campaign for it like we are doing, right? To have Dana standing there, because Dana at the post-fight presser said, no, he's not making the Alex Pereira fight. He's making the Tom fight. Now, granted, they can't put a gun to anybody's head and force them to have the fight. He could do this, though. He could say, all right, well, you want to fight Alex Pereira at light heavyweight? Well, you're not getting paid the money that you want. And then on Jon Jones' side, he can say, well, guess what? Well, I have the ability to just walk off into the sunset then. So it's kind of one of these.
If you do that, you don't get either one of them, right?
You get neither. Now, my only Jon could do whatever he wants. My only issue is, as a man, as a fighter, imagine you're their size, Paul, is him saying he doesn't have this obligation to fight these young, up-and-coming, hungry, dangerous guys that have an ability to beat him. I don't get that. That's what my problem is with Jake Paul. Fighting guys that he knows he can beat. Alex Pereira, he has a very blatantly obvious path to victory. He just took down Stipe. He took down Cyril Gane. He will take down Alex Pereira.
Yeah,
will he be able to take down Tom? That's the question. That's the fight. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And listen, Jon, at this point, if he wants to negotiate and play a little hardball, I'm cool with that. But as long as it's for the fight that the UFC wants, that the fans want to see, that makes the most sense. Listen, if you wiped out all the contenders at heavyweight and you wanted that super fight with Pereira, cool. Yeah, we want to see that. I think you handily win that fight because of your grappling ability. But if let's say you beat Tom, you beat the next guy in line, and then you're like, there's nobody else. I just want to do crazy matchups. That makes complete sense. But there is a clear guy that we're all wondering Is he better than you right now? Not all time, but right now, if you were matched up in 4 months, is he better than you?
Yeah.
Tom likes to think so. Jon likes to think he's better. There's one. I mean, dude, if you're still as in your prime as you looked on Saturday night, line it up, bro. And it doesn't. I know he doesn't want to lose and all this, but dude, if you're as confident as you are, it's the guy. It's the fight.
It is, absolutely. And I'll tell you something as well. The version of Jon Jones that we saw Saturday night, because I've always said, I think Tom would beat Jon. But when I was watching it Saturday night, I was like, Jon looks big. Yeah. Jon looks fast. Jon looks like he's got the ability to go 5 rounds if he wants to or if he needs to.
Yeah.
I believe Jon will give him some problems. I believe that is a real fight that the world wants to see. And it will be a shame for all the fans in mixed martial arts. And let's remember, this sport ain't shit if it wasn't for the fans. It's the fight that everybody wants to see. Tom by far got the biggest round of applause when they did the celebrity shots.
Yeah.
Tom, the whole arena went crazy. Well, other than when Donald Trump walked in the building. That was amazing. That was YMCA.
Dude, I was watching that from up above, from up in one of the booths with the ESPN desk, and just watch.
I walked in at a similar time. I thought, is this for me?
Yeah. I'm like, wow, man. I've been out of the game a minute, but man, I haven't lost a step. They still love me.
I still got it, kids. All right, this episode is sponsored by Prize Picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on sports action in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So your lineup stays intact even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your line up alive. If you sign up today, you will get $50 when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today. Use the code BELIEVE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.